Hi everyone, my name is Jake and welcome to Survivor Hourglass. Yes, this is Survivor Hourglass, a new series I have created where I take a look at the most recent episode of Survivor. I do a little bit of a recap, but I do something a little different. I take a look at the most recently eliminated contestant and say what they would have done if I would have given them an hourglass to smash after they got voted out. They go back in time 4 hours and they try to change the vote with the knowledge they already have, what they would need to do. These, of course, are all my predictions, and of course the edit could be leaving out some things that I say that they should do, and they probably did do. I got this idea because of the controversial twist last season where Erika smashed the hourglass to flip the game right near the merge, and of course I think it was a domino effect that literally led her to win the entire game. So it's me just taking a look at the most recently eliminated contestants and see what they could have done to prevent them from getting voted out and hopefully go on, learn their lesson, and win the game. I was really busy the last few weeks, so I wasn't able to make an episode 1 and episode 2. For this video, I'm just going to make an episode 1 and 2 recap. There's an episode tonight, and every week, right before the new episode, I'll upload a new video talking about what I think the last eliminated contestant should have done. I'm also going to do a segment in these videos called Standout Moments, where I'm going to name my 3 favorite standout moments of the episode. And there's going to be a bonus segment at the end of the episode, which I'll get into a little bit later. But without further ado, let's start with episode 1. So it's hard to talk about the first elimination of episode 1 because Jackson was medically evacuated from the game. I love Jackson. I love your story, Jackson. It was such a shame to see you leave so early in the game. And I don't really think it's my place to talk about what you could have done to prevent this elimination. All I'll say about it is that I hope to see you back in some capacity in another game of Survivor, and I can judge you when you get voted off. So that's it about Jackson, but let's talk about the first casualty of the vote at Tribal Council, Zach. Zach was a super fan of the game, and I always love to see super fans play because I picture myself as that super fan, and then Zach got voted off first, and I saw myself get voted off first there. But a lot went into the decision from the tribe to vote out Zach. For one thing, there's only 6 of them. They knew Zach was a super fan, and he did mess up the puzzle. So Zach gets his torch snuffed, but as he walks out the back, I come up to him with the hourglass advantage. I say, Zach, would you like to smash the hourglass, go back in time a few hours, and convince your tribe to vote out someone else? And he says yes. So Zach smashes the hourglass and he goes right after the challenge. There's no way to prevent him losing the challenge, but I think the first thing Zach needs to do is not admit fault to it. Yes, it is the right thing to do to say, hey, I'm sorry, that was my fault, we're going. But the thing is, Zach, everyone already knows that, and bringing attention to yourself makes it such an easy vote, especially at the first tribal that your tribe is going to. By you saying, yeah, I'm sorry, that was all my fault, that gives them an easy out to say, yeah, we're writing down Zach's name tonight. Because no one wants to get blood on their hands. It's such an easy vote when you admit that. So I would say, go back to camp, Zach, and I think he would say something different. I think he would just be like, we'll get him next time, guys. I think that's all Zach needs to say to kind of lower that easy vote threat right there. It was also revealed by the episode that Tori was the other name coming up. And I think what Zach needed to do to make sure the vote gets on Tori is Tori loves to talk, and I would just let her talk and spiral and just let people get freaked out by Tori. Tori likes to talk about a lot of nerdy things, trying to relate. She had struggle relating to people. So once she brings up Harry Potter again, just look at her and be like, okay. And then go up to someone in your tribe like Drea and go, get a hold of this girl over here. That gets people kind of weirded out by Tori, and you gotta let Tori spiral. You know that everyone voted you out when they voted you out, so if you went back in time and you knew Tori was the other name in the mix, it's time to get all that attention on Tori. If you just let her talk and spiral, you know she can talk, she is gonna be the obvious name and easy vote to come up. And that's what Zach would have done if he had the hourglass. That's what he should do anyways to prevent his elimination and make the domino effect for the 42nd winner to be Zach, superfan. So yeah, get the vote on Tori. Don't admit fault to the challenge. That's what you need to do, Zach. So let's get into the 3 standout moments from episode 1. This premiere was awesome. One of the best premieres in the last few years. It was very balanced with the edit, which I was so shocked to see and so happy to see. But the first standout moment comes from the very first challenge where Lindsay, Andrea had to go off into a bush and do a challenge, but they actually found an advantage, and they had to discuss whether or not they wanted to use it, but they were taking so long that they took the advantage, but the producers left them a bowl of fake blood and mud to put on them to make it look like they were doing part of the challenge, which is so camp and creative, and it was just so funny. Running back, and Lydia was like, "Are you okay?" Because he just drenched himself in the blood. Why the tribe didn't notice he didn't have any wounds after he cleaned himself up is a bit sus, but it just was very fun, and I like this concept of trying to trick your tribe. We'll get more into how those idols work a bit later in the series as they come more into play, but that was a very standout moment of the episode. The next standout moment from the episode is actually from that opening challenge. It was a wild opening challenge. Daniel Stephanie LaGrossed himself. So basically, Daniel was running back and he fell and he popped his shoulder out of the socket, which is exactly what happened in Survivor 20 over 20 seasons ago to Stephanie LaGrossa in the very first challenge. She popped her shoulder. And it was funny because I'm such a super fan that I immediately said, "Oh, he just Stephanie LaGrossa himself." I said that to myself. And then literally 3 seconds later, Daniel said, "I just Stephanie LaGrossa myself, props." And I laughed so hard. That is how you superfan subtly, Zach. Take notes from Daniel here. Very standout moment of the episode. I am glad you're okay. You took it like a champ when the Survivor medic popped it back in. You survived cancer, dude. It was nothing. You're such an inspiration. I'm so glad you're still able to play the game. It's a Survivor fan's nightmare to be taken out medically in the first ever challenge of the show. I am a bit worried that they left in the edit the medic saying we're gonna have to keep our eye on it. I hope you don't get evacuated later in the season, but good for you, Daniel. That was such a standout moment of the episode. And the last standout moment for me in the episode was Shipwheel Island. So Maryanne, Drea, and Jenny all left to go to this Shipwheel Island where they had to trek up a mountain and then go off their separate ways. And what they had to do is when they came to the Shipwheel, they can either move it to steal a vote or protect your vote. If all 3 of them stole a vote, they'd all lose their vote. But if at least 2 of the contestants stole their vote and 1 protected their vote, the ones that stole the vote gets an extra vote. Now, Jenny had all afternoon with Drea and Maryanne, and she read them to a T. She knew that they would go for the advantage. They were both game getters. Maryanne wants to make a statement in this game, and Drea is just, you can tell how hard she wants it and how hard she's playing. Jenny subtly picked that up, and she knew that both of them would steal their vote. So if Jenny stole her vote, all of them would lose a vote, and you need your vote in this game. Jenny here picked up the information that Drea and Maryanne probably got an extra vote, and it proves how well she can read the game. Even in the Triangle Challenge earlier, she was phenomenal. Jenny is the player of the episode for me. If you can read this well in the first episode, you're going to do extremely well in this game, Jenny, and that's why you're the player of the episode. But without further ado, let's go to episode 2, where we saw the fall of Marya. So Marya got voted out of her tribe after much debate through Jonathan and Omar whether they wanted to vote out her or Maryanne. Marya and Maryanne, I couldn't tell who they were voting for. It's spelled almost the same. So Marya gets her torch snuffed and she comes to me that I have the hourglass, and she's able to go back in time right after the challenge and try to convince the others to vote out Maryanne. This is what I think she needs to do. Maryanne went to Shipwheel Island in episode 1 that I just mentioned, and it was according to Marya's exit interview that Maryanne had a wild story that didn't make any sense, and they all pretty well knew that she had an advantage. So I think Marya really needed to go to Jonathan and Omar, who were tight. They're the swing votes. They are running the camp. She needs to go up to them and say, Maryanne probably has the advantage. We need to get her out before she feels like she needs to use it. Maryanne wasn't really expecting to go home here, so it's the perfect time to take her out of the game. I love Maryanne. I don't want to see her go, but for Marya to stay, she needs to get those points across. The other point she needs to get across is that Maryanne is young and wants to play the game. She volunteers for things, she wants to get through the game, and she is going to flip her vote on them eventually. I think it's quite obvious that she is not going to stick with Jonathan and Omar for the entire game. So Marya needs to go up to Jonathan and Omar and say, I will stick with you the entire game. Maryanne's gonna flip, which she's already started to do, but I think she really just needed to get that point in to get them to vote out Maryanne and also take them away from Maryanne, because I think they kept her because they love Maryanne so much. So Marya needs to get them away from Maryanne and try to vote her out. Now, of course, everything I'm saying, I think Marya probably did, and it just got left out in some of the edit, but I think that's what she needs to do to get the vote off herself. She read it very well that she needed to play the shot in the dark, but I hope that if she got the hourglass and was able to change her fate a little bit, that she wouldn't need to use that. But that's what I think Marya needed to do to stay in this game. Let's get to our 3 standout moments from episode 2. First things first, Maryanne. This is why I love her. When she saw Zach was voted out, she had a huge reaction. Her tribe went, "Your crush?" Probst asked her about it, and she said she had a massive crush on white boy Zach. And that she never had a relationship before. She Billy Garcia'd herself.
Dude, my prize isn't even the $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace. And in between...
Candace from Roro Tribe.
Yeah.
Probst was into it. He even asked her about it at Tribal. This is how big it was to Probst. It was so endearing and so funny, and the memes that came afterwards were phenomenal. I don't know if Billy Garcia'ing yourself is the best strategy, but it was a very standout moment of the episode. The next standout moment of the episode was Queen Lydia, of course, in the challenge. So the challenge, everyone was blindfolded and they were directed to get puzzle pieces through obstacles by the 3 callers who could see, and Lydia was one of the callers, and just the way she called the game was phenomenal. The big line she said was, "Bitches, come here!" She is so iconic. She's so close to my Gen Z humor. I hope she lasts forever. Queen Lydia, and we're gonna get more into why she's a queen in a second. But definitely standout moment of the episode. Y'all bitches come here. And the last standout moment of the episode was Mike. Mike found the hidden immunity idol. It is a beware advantage, so he did lose his vote. But Mike hid his idol. And when he went to find it again, he couldn't find it. He lost his idol. This is hilarious. This is exactly what I would do if I found an idol, because I lose my wallet every single day. He lost his idol. He did re-find it. In the preview next week, it looks like he loses it again. So Mike lost his idol, but then when he refound it, he told a few contestants, and he ended up making a mistake by telling Daniel, because Daniel knows that the best thing you can have in this game is information. Now he knows that Mike trusts him and showed him his idol. Mike, do not show your idol to people, whatever you do. And now Daniel is planning on potentially using this information against him and voting Mike out, which makes Daniel our player of the episode. Daniel was very subtle. He was very excited to see Mike found his idol, and he's planning on using it to backstab him in the pre-merge. And this is just pure Survivor gaming. Out of episode 1 and 2, our players of the game was Jenny and Daniel. Zach and Marya got their torch snuffed. I explained what I think they'd do if they got the hourglass to change their game, and I really think that Tori and Maryanne could have been alternate boots here. And now it's time for our bonus segment, where I want to talk about our queen, Lydia. Every single day, Lydia has the most fire tweets I've ever seen from a Survivor contestant, and I want to go through them as a segment every single week. Without further ado, let's just recap ourselves over the last few weeks what Lydia has tweeted. For one thing, her Twitter name is Lydia Chlamydia. And she has Jennifer Coolidge from The White Lotus on her banner photo. We love Jennifer Coolidge at Woodward Cinemas. We talk about her in all the podcasts. Let's go back to the tweet that started it all. I actually think I have the biggest, fattest, juiciest ass in Survivor history. Okay, but does Catherine Hahn watch Survivor? Asking for me. If you want to continue rooting for me this season, you have to learn the entire choreography to the Bella's final performance in Pitch Perfect. I don't make the rules. The fact I have to wait till West Coast time to watch the episode is homophobic. Me having to hear my voice. This was after the challenge aired. The bitches listened. Pre-game. My DMs are the horniest place in America right now. I'm proud of you, Lydia Chlamydia-nators. I'm more than being Gen Z. I'm depressed too. Wanted to publicly apologize to the couple that came into my job with a baby, and I audibly said, ew. Sorry. Happy Survivor Day. Here's me desperately wanting to be a Tumblr girl at 12. Enjoy. And just 43 minutes ago, she tweeted, also me being on Survivor is literally so random. Everyone in my past was probably like, her? I'm crying. These are hilarious, Lydia. And I hope you survive long enough. And even after you get voted out, if you do, we're going to keep the segment on Survivor Hourglass. It is the Lydia tweet update. And that is Survivor Hourglass. We talked about the eliminated contestants getting the hourglass. We talked about the standout moments from episodes 1 and 2. And of course, we talked about the bonus Lydia tweet update. Hope you enjoyed the episode tonight. Tune in next week to see my thoughts on the latest eliminated contestant and if they were given an hourglass, what they could have done to change the decision. My name is Jake, and I'm here to change your fate. If you had to change your fate, would you? We'll see you next time.